All right, well, welcome to the first episode of the Connor Productions podcast. I'm Brian. I'm 25 years old, man of Louisiana. I do video production full-time, and my first guest on the show is Sam Benson. And so I'm going to kick it to him, and you tell me, what do you do?
Hey, Brian. Thanks for having me, man. I was very excited to get the text that you wanted me to be over here for the first time. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Samuel Benson. I am the president of a company called Southern Hospitality Event Rentals. We are one of the larger event rental companies in the Gulf South. We do a lot of tents, so we've got tents big enough to cover a football field and wide or clear. We do a lot of weddings. We're in the party capital of, or at least what I call the party capital of the world, New Orleans. So Lord knows
Mardi Gras just happened, so we were.
So Lord knows we stay busy, and our job a lot of the time is to keep people dry and keep the party going.
Yeah. No, I've seen it. Y'all do some crazy nice weddings. Y'all got one of those big tents with the windows and all that.
Yeah.
Hey, that thing looks nice.
So the clear top tents are one of the most used products that we have because people, when you're underneath a clear top tent and there's bistro lights hanging and, we'll do these tents 40 by 120. It's truly a sight to see, and it's something that really brings the events together. I never thought I'd be a tent guy, but being in it for almost 2 years now, I love seeing them.
Yeah. So not a tent. So how did you even get started in it? So why? I mean, I know you had some connections with the guy that owns the company, but it's like, how'd that even come about?
So I had just come off a 4-month sabbatical that I was living in Nashville and made the decision that I wanted to come back. I wanted to be with my family. Everyone was growing up. I'm one of 10 kids, so I didn't really want to be away from them. My family is the best thing I've got in my life, and I wanted to figure out how to make it happen. And so I shot out some emails to some guys that are further along in their business career and just said, hey, these are my skills, talents, and abilities. Do you guys know anyone that might need me? I got back. I got linked up with the company's owner, and man, it was just it was a race from then. We had 2 really solid conversations, and I knew what they wanted, and I could see the vision, and I could see that the area really needed somebody with this kind of quality service and product, and it's been nonstop, man. It's been such a fun journey.
Yeah. I think like I stumbled upon mine pretty randomly.
Yeah.
As well. I didn't pick up camera until I was 22 or something like that.
Okay.
Just rolled with it.
Yeah.
And so, man, it's crazy how those things come about. But like, you kind of talked on family and all that. Like, I feel like one of the most important things about like we both have had some pretty good conversations when it comes to entrepreneurship, business, all that kind of stuff. And like, I think one of the most important things for me is like having that almost freedom of time and all that to be able to. I know you just went on a trip.
Yeah.
Like pretty recently. Europe, right?
Yeah, did 14 days in Europe with 2 of my best friends.
Yeah, and you can't really do that stuff if you're working a 9 to 5. I mean, you can, but I haven't had a real 9 to 5, so like I don't know, but I know like a lot of people get like 1 to 2 weeks vacation time, that kind of stuff. They got to use it wisely and all that. Sure. But it's like when you're an entrepreneur, it's like if you have the money and you can take the time, like go for it. But I feel like even with family, like one of the most important things for me is like going into the future when I have a family and all that. I don't want to spend all my time working and like think about if you got like a new kid at home or something, kids just growing up, you don't even see them. And so, or like people hiring like nannies like crazy to take care of their kids all the time. Yeah. And I'm like, I want to be around that. So like how important like for you is like freedom when it comes to like being an entrepreneur and stuff like that.
Oh man. So I think the topic of freedom is always like strange for me. So being in Europe was crazy because people in Europe, pretty standard with every job you get is a month of PTO from the lowest position, which is not something we have in the States. So I was ready to pack a bag until I had to sit on a train that got canceled, and then I realized the USA is for me. Yeah. But the time that being an entrepreneur really allows you to have, I think it's crucial for one of 2 things. I look at my schedule as not a 9 to 5, but what has to get done. And so this, being an entrepreneur, especially someone on the creative side, like locking in and making things happen is difficult. Who wants to wake up on Tuesday when you don't have a boss to answer to, you don't have something that needs to get done, but sure, you have things in the project queue, but pushing to make it happen. And I think a lot of the times people start these companies that are creative or from any kind of aspect. And I think what separates the doers from the dreamers is the people who can wake up and make it happen. And that was one of the first things that we really connected on is we love what we do and we love getting it done. But I don't want to work 24/7. I want to work hard. I want to deliver good products because if we work hard, we get to play hard. And so finding that balance between that, I guess I could kind of call a passion of mine. And so that was one of the coolest parts of the trip of, being in Europe. We were 7 days into the trip. This was the longest vacation I had ever taken in my life. And so I was walking onto a train. I think we were heading to Paris. And I looked over at my friend Alec and I said, we're 7 days in, but if I was going home, I'd be all right. And then we both started laughing, like, how awesome is it that we got to experience this at, the beginning of our career? And not that we're further along than anyone else, but truly just this moment of gratitude for the both of us to sit and just say, what an awesome opportunity we had. But it also made me realize that being away for 14 days really isn't something I want to do. I love work and I love producing, and making things happen.
Yeah, I think I glorified the whole, like, I want to constantly be traveling thing and all that. And then, like, you even get away for a few days and you're like, I kind of want to go back. Like, I'm ready to kind of get back. And even, I used to be the kind of person that's like, oh, I want to move here. I want to move there. I want to live here or there. And I'm just like, I can kind of keep my base here and, like, kind of go places here and there. But it's like, even with, it is hard, like you mentioned, like, if you're working for yourself, if your boss is you, having to force yourself to do, like, the work that you have. I mean, on, like, my iPad right here, I've got a to-do list going that's, like, stuff that needs to get done. And it's very easy for me to be like, it'll
Tomorrow.
wait. It's fine. Like, it'll get done at some point. I have a deadline. And
do you work better under pressure?
Yeah, if my deadline's right there, I'm like, I'm about to make the best video I've ever made. I'm going to kill this thing in 18 hours. Nobody talk to me. Don't text me. Don't anything. But yeah, I end up doing a lot of projects right before. And lately I watched a video actually on Matt Diavella. He's on YouTube and he does a lot of productivity stuff. And he made this simple video about the power of checklists. And ever since then, I've just started every day making a to-do list of the stuff I need to get done today, tomorrow, or the next day. And really, ideally today. And, like, ever since I started doing that, even, like, on my iPad where I'm just, when I hit that little checkbox, I'm like, click.
Well, it
feels good.
You've got to be goal-oriented then. Okay, so I am. So there's, nothing more, not stressful isn't the word I'm looking for, but maybe even disheartening, is going in, killing a day, and you're like, wow, it's 2:00, I'm done. And then you get another stack of something that has to get done. And you're like, what was all that hard work for? And so I deal with that a lot where, I think that people do need to set checklists and goals that they want to get done every day, because you're giving yourself a structure, if that makes sense. You're being your own boss to yourself, where you're splitting your personality and you're like, yeah, I want to have fun. I know I have to get these things done. But I think that that's where maturity kind of comes in, and wisdom, maybe even a good word to use there, is be wise enough to know what you need to get done, but also be wise enough to know when something can wait till tomorrow, and give yourself a reasonable amount. But I think it kind of boils down to how well do you know yourself? I am great under pressure. I don't want to say I thrive under pressure because I don't want more pressure to kind of find me. But I thrive under pressure. And so being in those situations is always so fun for me, because I know that there's a finish line and I'm going to run this race strong, because when there is no end goal, you just feel like you're wandering. You're just trying to, okay, well, I can work 9 to 5 or I can work 9 to 9 if I want to, but what do I need to do? I think is an important question. And something I always have admired about you is, figuring those things out and, like, yes, that can wait, or no, this can't wait. I'm sorry, I can't hang out tonight. I can't see you. I've got to get this stuff done. And I think that that's a quality that not too many people have.
Yeah, and I've even tried to get better just with, like, the whole checklist thing of like, it's helped me with time management. Because, like, even if like me and my girlfriend have plans or something like that, there's been times where I've, like, gone to hang out with her and I'm a little stressed out because I got all this work stacked up that I didn't do. But now that I've done this, it's like I'm getting it done and it's like 2:30 and I'm like, I'm good. like I'm gonna hit the gym or something and go chill for a little bit.
We started a new thing in the company where I have told all of our leadership, don't give someone a task without attaching a time to it. And I'm sure that I read that in a book, so that's not me taking credit for that in any way.
It's like half of what I say.
It's just, it's true. You know, I can give you a task and you can take 2 hours, or if I give you a task and tell you to get it done in 15 minutes, you're going to get it done in 15 minutes because now that's the expectation.
Yeah. It's like, you watch The Office?
No.
Michael Scott said one time something about like Jim, where Jim was, he's like, listen, pros and cons. And he's like, cons about Jim? He's not a very hard worker. And he's like, he'll get something done in 30 minutes that it'll take me all day to do. And she's like,
it's the perspective.
Might be a hard worker. But yeah, man, it's so important just, creating these like lists and being able to get stuff done in a timely manner. Because if you're an entrepreneur, like the reason you most likely became one is because one, you got a passion for like business or being your own boss. Absolutely. A lot of times, and two, the other pro is that you're thinking I'm gonna make my time. But if you're not doing what you need to be doing, then you're almost taking the biggest pro of being an entrepreneur and throwing it away.
Look, man,
because you've got this long list of things that you're not getting done.
Because people think it's nice and shiny. It's the same thing in my industry.
It's that Gary V complex, dude. It's that,
In my industry, we've recently had this huge influx because New Orleans is gaining so much popularity, where everyone wants to be down here, and they're realizing that the fun, the parades after the wedding and before, and all of this, so everyone wants to be here. So we've had this huge influx of people that want to be wedding planners. And so people are graduating college and like, I just want to be a wedding planner. The same way people, I'm sure, buy a professional grade camera and say, I want to be a photographer. They see the events you go to. They see the big weddings, but they don't see you talking to the numerous meltdowns or coordinating whenever someone is showing up 15 minutes late or setting something up 15 minutes into a ceremony. It's you only see the glamour of it and you don't see the reality. And I guess that's just human nature.
No, they don't see like me before a ceremony. When I need to put a mic on the priest to get the audio, and the priest is like, I don't know if I want a mic. And I'm like, I need audio, man.
Yeah.
And so now I'm stressing out here. And so it's like, or like rushing from the ceremony to the reception as quick as possible to get stuff set up. Like wedding days are easily the most stressful. Like video production I do, not in a bad way of like I don't like them. I do like them. Well, but they're running gun. Like
every time I talk to people about the industry that I'm currently in is always just saying, we don't get a second chance. This is a day that someone has dreamt of their entire life. And we're the people who have to execute it.
Don't mess it up.
You know what I'm saying? And it's small stuff, and you don't really understand the complexity of a person or what details they have fascinated about. Some people are gonna, really care about the flowers. Some people are gonna really care about the chairs that are there or how they're set up, or the feeling that they get whenever they walk in. And you're dealing in an industry of one shot. It's like you can't lose a memory card and just say, just do it again. You get one chance.
Yeah, I think that is one of the hardest parts about it, because I've even told people, even with like video compared to like photography, I'm like, video's rolling.
Yes.
I'm like, I'm shooting constantly. It's like at some point they're going to share their first kiss.
Yes.
And some officiants do it differently. They'll like spring it on you from time to time. Or I've had one where they didn't kiss, and that was weird. It was weird, but it's like you got to get that moment because they're expecting you to get that moment.
Yeah.
And it's like I've heard people who have messed it up, and it sounds like a nightmare to me because I'm like, that's it. That's they're not planning to get a divorce, so they're not planning on having a second wedding. So it's like, this is the wedding.
Yeah.
And you missed it.
I had a friend of mine, she got married in Texas, and they had this big ordeal with their photographer, kind of either lost memory cards or they didn't format them right or whatever. And just getting to see the post that she was posting was so heartbreaking because you do get it once. And I just did my sister's wedding. My younger sister got married in November, and I remember it being such a beautiful time. She was the second one in our family to get married, and it was so much fun. And then after that, I stopped and I was like, how would I feel if all these memories that we shared, my brother was in from Germany, we had family that we haven't seen in years, and it was just this realization that what I do is very important because it was, my wedding, so to speak. And, that's what we tell our clients all the time, and the partners that we work with is what separates us is we really do treat all these events and all of these weddings and all these corporate, everything that we do, like it is our own event. And when we have these pre-delivery meetings, we talk to the guys, and I always tell people, you can look at it one of two ways. Way number one is we're a logistics company. We move stuff from point A to point B. And then I give them a second option, which is what we're doing is not just setting up tables, tents, and chairs and dance floors and making these environments. We're giving a place for relationships to come back together, for people to connect, for new love to start, maybe old love to come back. And so whenever you have that perspective of it, you're kind of empowering the people who were there, because it doesn't matter how many people we sell. The guys who are in the field that deliver our equipment, these are the guys who really give the impression. And these are the guys that really will allow someone to either make that decision of we love them or we don't really want to use them.
Yeah, I think too, even from just like a video perspective, where I'm like, essentially, so many couples say like their wedding day just flies by. They don't really remember much from it. And so as like a videographer, like I'm almost getting to show them what their wedding day was. Yeah. And it's like, that's why you want to make it so good. And like really tell the story of the wedding day. It's because like they're gonna watch that they're gonna see stuff and they're gonna be like, I forgot that happened. Yep. Where it always happens, because they can't process everything going on, because it's like, go to this, get dressed, get to the venue, get to the reception, your first dances, cake cutting, do this. Like, hey, everybody wants to talk to you. Everybody wants to talk to you. Sure. And so it's like you get to do those things, but also like you said, even like the employees that you'll hire and stuff like that, you'll send out there. I just kind of randomly thought of it, where it's like that. They are they're represent every employee of every company is representing their company. Yeah, and that's why I'm like, you don't want to call out like big corporations and stuff, but it's like, you get rude workers. Like somebody, you sometimes I pull up to McDonald's and I think they might curse me out or something. Yeah, but it's like, it matters, because I'm like, well, I don't really want to go to McDonald's that much anymore. Yeah, because they're not that nice to me when I'm there.
I think that people, and I can't agree with that more. It's always challenging for me to deal with that kind of interaction. But like the gym that I go to, I was checking in 2-3 days, and everybody just walks by. This is my name, check me in. And I stopped, like planted my feet, and before they said anything, I was like, hey guys, how are y'all doing? And they were like, I'm sorry, what's your name? And I was like, no, how are you guys doing? And we had this like 5-minute interaction, or 5-second interaction, where they were so confused as to why someone was just stopping to ask them how they were doing. Yeah. And so I think that whenever you have these people in, whatever kind of jobs that it's maybe not their dream job. And so I always try to balance that. But you're right. And listen, even our guys, we do hard work. They work 16 hours. Yeah, I've seen it. We make events happen. And at the end of that, no one's doing front flips and, high-fiving. But when we get back to the office, it's always met with so much gratitude of saying, this can't happen without you guys. Yeah. And I feel like a lot of the times in larger companies, maybe the people that are above aren't exactly empowering their people.
No, like the bigger it gets, the more distance it kind of creates from like the guy at the bottom and the guy at the top. Yeah. So but in smaller companies, it's like the guy at the top is a lot more connected. Yeah. With the people that I
think there's pros and cons to both.
Yeah, there's definitely pros. There's a money pro to like giant companies, but it's like, I think hiring the right people is important. Like even going into the future, like I want to start using some other people, other videographers and stuff like that. But it's also where, I learned a lot from my dad when it comes to hiring people and like making sure people are trained the right way and stuff. He manages Stone Creek and they train people the right way. Sure. Where it's like, this is the kind of employee we want you to be. We hired you because we think you already fit that mold. Yeah. But now we want to make sure you're doing things the Stone Creek way. Absolutely. And so with me, it's like, well, if I'm going to send somebody out, it's like, I'm going to make sure you're doing it the Connor Productions way, where, you're nice, you're friendly, they like you. And then most importantly of all, you shoot good video, because that would suck.
And you're in an art form. So much is left for interpretation. Yeah. So, for me, I need this set up this way. But for you, someone may shoot the cake cutting from above and you want it done below, or you want it done on these different angles. So I definitely think that you have your own mountains to climb. But have you done much prepping in that aspect of like finding people who can really match not your core values, but really your vision?
Yeah, I mean, I've used people for weddings and stuff like that, and just I like to kind of see the shots they get, the things they do, and it's like everybody that I've used so far has been good. Like they've gotten the right shots. And obviously everyone's coachable to an extent where
absolutely.
It's like, hey, like maybe this angle next time, or like, hey, maybe your exposures needs to be, I need more light, like, or something like that, little things. But it's definitely important that whoever you find, like they already have kind of that baseline of what you need them to have.
Absolutely.
Or else.
Or there's a rule that you can only coach people up about 3.
Yeah.
So, if you find somebody who's a 5, if you need them to be at a 9,
you got a ways to go.
Be realistic with yourself. You got about 3 points is normally. But I think that's another thing. I have the saying, key people in key places. And I feel like a lot of the times people get put in positions, not that they're destined to underperform, but you've got to know the person and you have to know the position and you have to say, can you do it? Mm-hmm. Because the only person who's really going to get hurt in that situation, if they can't, is you. And then you have an employee who's not happy and they feel like they can't meet these goals. And so I think it's important to really kind of take some time to assess the person, assess the position, and make sure that it's a good fit.
Yeah, and even with, especially like, I love getting like reviews and all that. And like, I'll ask people after shoot, like, hey, if you like leave a review, tell us how we did. And like, so far it's all like 5-star stuff and all that. And so it's like, I want to make sure whoever's coming on board helping me out or anything
can do the same thing.
I don't even want a 4-star review if I can help it,
Yeah.
I want everyone to be like crazy about it.
Sure.
But so you have to like make sure the people coming on board can do the stuff that you're doing, and especially somebody like me where I'm like, man, I'm picky.
Oh.
So, which I got to tone down sometimes and being like, all right, like understand people aren't you. There's only one you.
Yeah.
Everyone's got their own style, and other people coming on board that have a different style is a good thing because it can kind of give you a different angle.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you still want them to match what you put forward.
Yeah.
So
I think it's all about the leadership. For me is always making sure that I'm a very particular person as well, and so I want things done this way, and it's not my way, it's just that I know the way that it needs to get done, because whether I've done it longer than you, or I've done it before, or I have been asked to do it this specific way by someone else, and in giving that room for coachability, even as the leaders, of saying, if you see a way to do it better, when I ask you to do it, I'm going to have you do it, and then my door's always open. Come sit and talk to me and say, Sam, you asked me to do it this way. I did it. It's done. But maybe next time we could do it this way. And I'm very transparent in saying I love hearing ideas. I may not always take them, but it's not because I'm not listening. But if you come to me with a better idea, give me the time to explain my thoughts and my processes, and let's hash it out. Let's sit and kind of talk about it. So in an art form of, cinematography and capturing these beautiful moments, I can imagine that having somebody who is maybe a little different can add some value, but tricky. How do you paint vision on a wall?
Yeah, I think it's definitely tricky, but even in terms of like being a leader and stuff, because I haven't had to lead too many people yet. Obviously the goal for the future is, I'd love to even have just have a photographer on board with me, have somebody who can is good at social media that can possibly take the videos I create and help a client with that kind of stuff. But I think throughout life, like, I've had leaders that I like and I really don't like, and that's kind of the bad. I think a lot of people who are entrepreneurs or want to be entrepreneurs, to an extent, have some kind of issue at some point in their life with authority. And it's like this where, like, I have had authority issues in my past where it's like, as I got older, I got better with it.
Yeah.
But I still, at the end of the day, I took it and I was like, it's coming from a place of, I just see the way things can be done, but I need to also understand that who's in charge.
Yeah.
But like, I've had one of my favorite bosses. I worked at a Ford dealership in the service department, and he trusted me, let me do my thing, saw that I was doing my job, and he coached me here and there on things that needed to get done. But other than that, he kind of didn't. So like, when other people have tried to micromanage me or like super manage me to where it's like everything I do, they want to tell me how to do it, and I'm like, at some point you probably have a little bit of a trust issue because you won't let me do anything. But it's like, the best leaders that I've had are people that are like, I trust you. And I want to have people on board my team that I'm like, I trust you. Do your thing.
I always tell people, for me, I learned so much more from leaders that maybe led me in directions that I didn't agree with. You learn much more in the lessons that you don't want to repeat than you learn in the lessons that you do want to repeat.
Yeah.
Because those negative memories just stick a little harder. They're just maybe underlined and highlighted.
Time. Yeah. In your head, they're just there.
But, going back to the micromanagement is one of the things. I love entrepreneurship, and I love meeting with entrepreneurs. And, you have these people that have this beautiful vision, and they bring people on, but they feel to keep the vision, their vision, they have to be involved in everything. And so you can't do everything. Every small business owner says, if only I could clone myself. And then they bring these team members on, and then they still want to keep training wheels on and keep them running. And then now this owner is working 17 hours a day to make sure that everyone's doing their job. And one of the most important things that I've had to learn, which is challenging for me because, like I said, I love the control and I love making sure that everything is getting done right. But, empowering your employees or empowering your teammates to really do their job and to have the freedom to make the wrong calls. Not the right calls, but even having the freedom to make the wrong calls and having the transparency and kind of the relationship with everybody of, hey, if you mess up, you got to talk to me. Don't sweep it under the rug. Let's discuss it. But if you're not messing up, you're just not trying hard enough, and not to get Gary Vee, but it's true. If you're not putting yourself out there, you're staying in a comfort zone, and the only way for you to really grow and kind of adapt new skills, talents, and abilities is to push yourself out. And you can't wander around without, putting your foot somewhere where it shouldn't be.
Yeah. No, I think mistakes are crucial, which that is probably like a super Gary Vee thing. Yeah, Gary Vee talks about failure and all that kind of stuff. But I've made plenty of mistakes along the way. And luckily I haven't made like super big mistakes when it comes to like wedding days.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are plenty of times where I'm behind like the screen editing and I'm like borderline insulting myself as I'm editing the footage because I'm like, you idiot. Why didn't you shoot it from this?
Critic.
Yeah, I'm like, why are you wobbling? Why is the camera shaking? What were you doing in this moment? Did your nose itch that bad? You had to scratch it?
Yeah.
And so stuff like that. But yeah, and you are always your biggest critic. But I think, mistakes are
But I think
huge.
That's what keeps you sharp.
No, for sure.
I've recently taken up golf, and I'm not great. So we'll go out.
Sport.
My friends will be there with me, and I'll miss a shot, and I'm like, why would you do something like that?
Yeah.
Like, you knew how to hit this thing, and they're laughing, and I'm like, man, if you guys think I'm hard on everyone else, you should hear my own thoughts to myself. And I think it's a good thing and a bad thing, kind of being self-aware and allowing yourself to coach you up, but not allowing yourself to beat you up.
Well, I've even had to like learn how to, because I'm so hard on myself, which I think, once again, like I kind of talked about, like a lot of entrepreneurs tend to have like authority issues and younger on in their life.
Sure.
And then I think a lot of them are also have serious like issues with how hard we are on ourselves, where it's good to an extent, but then it can also be very toxic.
Sure.
Where you can't do anything right in your own head, and that can also destroy whatever you're trying to start or build.
Yeah.
Or even with this podcast, I would love to have the goal to say this podcast is going to get 100,000 listens.
Sure.
It's not. It might. Come
on, dude.
But I gotta believe. But you see, like that'd be such a bad place to start, because it's like if it doesn't meet that, I'm gonna be destroyed. And so it's like, really, I'm like, if it gets that, awesome. But what I'm really trying to get out of this first one is to really start this thing and launch it off the ground. But if I'm coming from the place where I need to be an overnight sensation, then I'm gonna literally tank my self-esteem overnight. But trust me, I want this to take off instantly. And if it does, I'm psyched. But at the same time, I also understand that even getting this first podcast done was crucial.
Absolutely.
Because when I told people, I was like, all right, I'm going to do this podcast, I put the video out as almost a form of like accountability.
Absolutely.
And then after putting it out, I was like, all right, well, let me make this list. And then I was like, hey, I'm just going to reach out to Sam. And then I already got another person like lined up later on.
Yeah.
And at first I was like, I need to record one, then get somebody else, and record one, then get somebody else. And then I was like, well, let me just start scheduling people when I can do it and roll with this. And that way I've got a plan in place to get this thing rolling.
I think one of the things that I've noticed, and one of the things that I've really been thinking on, so I'm a very particular person, and I'm also a very strange person. So I've been a musician my whole life, and I got into singer-songwriter, that area. And so I I have two ways of writing songs. I'll sit down in my living room and I'll write a song in 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Or I'll sit down and I'll write one verse, and it won't be until a year later that I can pick that guitar up and finish it. And I always describe it as like me being blind walking through the desert with a stick in my hand, and there's just one track. And I wander and I wander, and when I lock in, if I get up and allow that emotion or that thought to get out of my mind, I'm back. I'm out of the track again. And so I think in trains of thoughts. And one of the biggest things that I've been thinking about lately is our society and maybe even our generation really doesn't want people to believe in themselves.
Yeah.
You sit and you're young and you're ambitious and you talk about these dreams, and whether it be someone who's a little bit older than you that maybe didn't get a chance to pursue theirs, or someone who's younger than you that has already been beat down by someone else, the automatic response is, you're not going to do that.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, why not?
Yeah.
And then we have this issue that I even noticed where, I love business and I love talking with people, and I find myself in conversations just thinking, you probably shouldn't say anything because you're not as good as you think you are, or you haven't seen things, or you haven't done what this person has done.
Experience.
You discredit yourself.
Yeah.
And so for me is I just kind of came to this realization that if you can't believe in yourself, how can I expect other people to believe in me? And so ambition has never been an issue with me. I'm kind of my brothers mess with me all the time. We'll throw around phony business ideas, and I'm singing like theme songs to the company, and I'm laughing about where a headquarters could be. And Sawyer, my older brother, who is in finance, he always laughs and he's like, I don't know how you do that.
Yeah.
And realizing that everybody's got their own set of gifts, man, but if you can't encourage it in yourself, and if you can't grow it in yourself, no one else is going to see the value of what you're doing.
Yeah.
And so it's this thin line of arrogance and confidence, which has been one that I've walked for the majority of my life.
It's like when people ask, like even, if you ask an athlete, like who's ask some guy who might not be considered the best quarterback in the NFL, hey, do you think you're the best quarterback in the NFL? And he says yes, and people are like, man, this dude must be crazy. I'm like, what? Why would he not bet on himself? Yeah. Why would you admit that someone else is better than you? Because you're already saying, I'm not on his level.
Yeah.
And there's a level of humility to I'm not on his level.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's also saying, I feel like I can do what they do.
I think
I can get there.
I think you have to be confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
And one of the biggest things that I work on in my own life is just being self-aware. I have I tell people I get to sit at the table with people. So I get to sit at the table with people like you who are young entrepreneurs like myself, or I get to sit at the table with people who are further along.
Yeah.
And being self-aware is important because I never want to put my foot in my mouth. I'm sitting here talking to a guy who makes X amount, and he's talking about his employees, that are 100 plus, and I'm like, oh, I deal with that all the time. Meanwhile, I'm managing 15 employees.
Yeah.
And so you're at the table, but you're not speaking the same language. And so approaching it with this level of humility of saying, I see where you're at, and I'm self-aware enough to recognize where I'm at, but I want you to know that I have the vision of being where you're at. And that's been something that's helped me, I think, tremendously, just kind of navigating those situations.
Yeah, that's important. And making, vision, at some point it has to become a reality.
Sure.
Where it's like you can, I can keep going back to, this podcast where I have not had this in my head for, the past couple of weeks.
Yeah.
I've had it in my head for, over a year now.
Yeah.
And eventually I got sick and tired of it just being in my head. And I was like, all right, I've got microphones, I've got audio equipment, I got lighting, I got camera gear.
Why not?
There's literally no reason I can't. It costs $10 a month to have a site that will host your podcast and get it out to Apple and Spotify and all these people. And I'm like, what's the reason I can't be doing this? And that's why I eventually just was like, Sam, you want to be on the first episode? You want to do the podcast? And I literally thought of you as the first guy because of the conversations we've had about business and all that over coffee and things like that. And but it's I'm going to make this reality, because not only is this just a good thing to do, podcasts and all that, brings awareness to my brand.
Absolutely.
And it brings awareness to your brand. And then it also, one of the biggest things for me was networking.
Sure.
Where I'm not the hugest fan of big networking events.
Yeah.
Because I don't want anybody shoving their business cards down my throat. It's like I want to form one-on-one connections and really make relationships. Because, if you need somebody who does video work, well, most likely I'm going to be a guy you consider.
Yeah.
Because you've made a personal relationship with me. You know me. You can vouch for me. If I need to get some rental gear, I'm going to you.
Yeah.
Because I know you. I can vouch for you. I know the company. And so it's like being able to do these podcasts and meeting with people one-on-one is a huge networking thing, where you can just get connected to the people around you, and while also putting out great content for people who might also be entrepreneurs and stuff like that. But I mean, that was a huge thing for starting this and like making this a reality. Like, okay, shoot that first podcast. Like actually today, like I texted you and I was like, I'm leaving for Nashville on Thursday.
Okay.
So that's why I was like, hey, could we get it done before Wednesday?
Yeah.
And then you're just like, all right, what you got today? And I was like, none. 2 o'clock. Don't like meet me here. Let's do it.
Yeah.
And here we are doing it. And even when you said that, I was even kind of almost thinking like, maybe not.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, I can do it.
Yeah.
Like I'm good.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
And so
you touched on personal relationships, which is something that is something that I just love and is so important to me. But in your industry, how do you think personal relationships play into what you do? Is it a lot? Is it minimal?
I think when it comes to weddings, almost all of them are like referrals.
Yeah.
So I met the couple, all that. They loved me, did a great job. So they referred me to somebody else. Somebody knows a client that I've shot with, and that client was like, hey, you should use them. So it's like almost completely on relationships. Sure. But then, also people just discover you and they're like, hey, but you make a relationship with them. And I'm like, in my opinion, the greatest way to get any business off the ground and running is to somehow get connected with other people that do it in your area, and then also other people that need you, like need whatever you're offering. Yeah. And so like for me, I noticed like, people can go to a big production company for work and get charged a crazy amount because that production company's been around for a while. They do great work.
Absolutely.
They got incredible gear. Or they can go to somebody that's a little bit newer, like myself, where it's like, I promise you, I'm going to give you an amazing product.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to give you a good price for it, especially if you're like a small business, because I know you don't have a huge production budget. Sure. Small business just don't have $50,000 to blow on a commercial. No. Unless they really see that commercial taking off and have a huge return on investment. Yeah. But so I think, and then creating that content for like social media, I try to make an affordable option for them to post stuff on Facebook and Instagram, but without making connections with people, I don't think I would have gotten probably 75% of the business that I have. Yeah. So super crucial.
It's the same thing, man. Like being in this community, we'll say New Orleans specifically, in my industry is everyone knows everyone. Mm-hmm. And there's networking events and there's always everything. And one of the things that I love most about this industry is it's really a family. I get to sit with people that are not even competitors. I always just say friends that do the same thing, but companies that do the same exact thing as us, and we greet each other with a kiss on the cheek and hello and how are you? And it's unlike anything that I've ever gotten to experience. And I got into this company at a crazy time in my life when I really needed community. And in a way, this industry saved a lot of me because I was really doubting myself and feeling like I wasn't exactly capable of doing these things that I knew I always wanted to do. And this industry helped me understand through the support of the photographers and wedding planners and venue managers that accepted me with open arms and allowed me to just be me. And what that taught me was I don't ever want to be a salesman. Mm. I want to be a relational salesperson. Yeah. And I want to be someone that even the vendors that I work with know that they can call me when they need me. And I had a beautiful thing happen a few months ago. A venue that we work with a lot, one of our favorite venues, one of their main sales reps was leaving, and she called me, and this wasn't, this was a Saturday morning, and she called me, and we sat on the phone for maybe 2 hours, and she just talked to me about what was going on, and some things in her life were kind of kicking off, and she was leaving, and I was able to sit on the phone with this girl that I'd worked with for 2 years and care about her, and she's left, and we get to stay in contact, and it's bringing this aspect of business back to business that has been gone for a long time, that has been this artificial intelligence barrier almost of all emails. And one of the things that I'm most passionate about, that I believe is something I want to dedicate my life to, is bringing back the basics of business. I want to sit and I want to do lunch. I want to do coffee. I want to do dinner. I want to drop by your office. I want to send you. I want to send you handwritten letters. And bringing this this aspect of business that made business business. You had to look at someone in their eyes and tell them, no, I don't like your product. Or you had to say, I'm going to stand by my word and I'm going to stand by this deal. Where now it's all done by email. And I feel like we're making this turn where everything is cyclical, like fashion is. Bell bottoms were in the 70s and now they're back. And I feel like business is making this turn where people are getting tired of the emails and the text messages, and they want to see you. And that's something that is so exciting to me, that I'm ready to show up and I'm ready to, greet you with a smile. And I think that it's coming down to the person now and not just the product and the pricing. And I think that it's about to get crazy.
And I think too, like when you meet with people in person, you do coffee or lunch or something like that, they can see like your energy and your excitement.
Absolutely.
Where on the phone, you can obviously change your tone and all that. And email's probably the worst because you can't. Email's tricky.
I use too many exclamation points.
That's the thing that's tricky. Is like you use exclamation points to make yourself look excited.
I'm sure I look crazy.
But then you end up looking like a psycho. Because I've had emails where I send like 5 sentences, all of them exclamation points. So I'm just like, man, I'd love to meet with you and let's do this. Let's get it done. And I look crazy. But I'm like, to an extent. But they probably
I'd much rather look crazy than unenthusiastic.
Than boring. It's like period, 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 period. So I'm like, in person, I can at least show you my tone, talk to you, see my body language, like, and I feel like you can also just get more done. You're not waiting on email exchanges to get through stuff. Even with phone calls, you kind of gotta, usually go through a few phone calls. And even if you do a few meetings, I'd rather do a few in-person meetings where we gotta talk about stuff. I can get a greater vision as a videographer for a client's like dreams on a video.
Absolutely.
If I'm in person, than if I'm just over the phone having to listen.
Look at grocery stores. Like Walmart blows up, and they were this company that really cared about their employees, and they made sure that everyone was taken care of. And then it went to everyone works weekends, and then it's everybody's working 12-hour shifts. And now I want my W-2 for having to use those freaking self-checkout machines.
Yeah, I'm working.
But you look at a place or an organization like Whole Foods, where they're coming in, and why do people love Whole Foods so much? Sure, it's because it's all natural and it's organic, but it is also this feeling of, wow, everyone here actually cares about me. If I'm standing in the aisle for a minute and a Whole Foods employee sees me, they're going to come up and ask me, hey, what is it that you're looking for?
Yeah.
So it's this, again, kind of coming back to people want this human connection. I think that we've just kind of been deprived for too long, and everyone's starting to wake up, man. I think that the world's about to get a little unusual in the best way possible.
My girlfriend turned me on to a Whole Foods, which is a good and a bad thing, because my future grocery bill just got a lot more expensive. And so, which is fine. She likes Trader Joe's too, so I was like, nice balance.
I want to get one here.
Yeah, it's gonna be I think a decent balance between the two of them. But Whole Foods can be pricey. But you're right, like you get a better vibe. I don't even like using the word vibe, but it's like
it is.
Vibes.
It's true.
But it's like you get a better vibe walking in, and like I don't like going to Walmart. If I have to go to Walmart, I don't like it. Walmart, if you're listening, I'm sorry, but it's like. Because the
Target, you can sponsor us.
It's crowded, yeah, for sure. I'll put Target stuff all over the place. But it's like, it's crazy. It's chaotic at times. There's too many people, or like people are upset. Workers don't seem happy. Things like this, and I'm like, I go to Whole Foods, just kind of much different. It can still get crowded. I've been to crowded Whole Foods. But it's different. It's a different kind of feeling.
I think the root of it is, I think the leadership of Whole Foods really cares. Not that Walmart doesn't or anything like that, but like we talked about earlier, smaller companies have this involvement, and there's pros to that, and larger companies have this detachment from their lower level employees, and there's pros to that. Walmart's a heck of a lot cheaper.
Yeah.
Whole Foods, you're going to pay to play, but
I get that great value brand.
This closeness. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So there's trade-offs and everything.
Yeah. And I'm not saying I would give up. Like, there's stuff I would still get at Walmart, because I'm like, there's cheaper stuff at Walmart. Like, I can get it there. And it's like, even Walmart sells some of the same products that are going to be cheaper at Walmart, just naturally. But it's like, I don't know, Whole Foods just does some stuff right. The one in Metairie got a French truck in it French Truck Coffee.
All right. Well,
and I'm like, that's stepping up. You got a whole nother coffee shop in yours. But I mean,
two coffee shops.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a cool it's a cool story. You're just gonna pay a premium for it for sure. Even their store brand, you're still paying a premium.
Yeah.
But it's just a nicer feel, and so I think that's a really good thing. But I guess kind of want to end it on like you kind of asked me about networking.
Yeah.
Almost like back at you, like how important is networking and connections with, because even we tried to get like some connection stuff going here, and it's like it can be difficult. But even like I think like as a young adult, I'm 25 years old. I'm in this weird transition phase where I used to be super connected and like a huge community with like 50 people around me all the time and stuff. And now I'm not, because I'm getting into my mid-20s. I'm getting older. I'm like, I'm starting to, move towards future stuff, trying to improve my business and relationships and stuff like that. And so I found myself with less people around me naturally, but it's like you don't really want it to be that way at times. And so it's like, how do you network? It's like, two, is how important, that kind of stuff.
I mean, so for me, I've been in entrepreneurship for the last 8 years of my life. So I got a really early start into getting involved in a company. And so I've always had this distance between me and people my age. And so, high school, college, you're there, you're with these people. You leave college to get an entry-level job, and then you're surrounded by other entry-level employees, which is who you become friends with. Yeah. That's what happens. So you taking a route of not doing that, jumping into total just you by yourself, isolation, already creates distance. Yeah. And then you don't really have much to talk about with people your age. I'm not going through finals. Yeah. I'm looking at P&Ls.
And I don't want to talk about your finals because I dropped out of college and I did it for a reason.
But to the extent of the networking, the event industry in the city is all about who you know. Mm-hmm. And having a good reputation is truly everything. And so owning up when something goes wrong goes a long way. And I just believe that no matter what you're doing, just do good and just be good. Yeah. And by do good, I mean really think if you were in the other person's shoes, and always kind of carry that in the forefront of your mind, and just have this posture of, I want to do two things. I want to do good, so I want to do good work. I want to have good customer service. Yeah. And then I just want to be good. I want to give you the product that I told you I was going to give you. I want to undersell and over-deliver. Yeah. But the community in the city is unlike any other I've ever been a part of. Last week, I got to go to Bacchus Ball with a really good group of my friends from the industry, and they've really just become some of my best friends. Mm-hmm. And people that we get to connect with and talk business, because we're all helping each other out. Yeah. One day or another, we all sit at the same table for planning meetings or whatever it is. Yeah. And it's just truly helped me understand that everyone has something very valuable to bring into business, and that for the longest time, business has been pretty cold. But I think that the world is looking for us to wake up. I think that the world is looking for us to start saying, hey, and dressing like you want to dress, and letting your personality shine through in your emails, and maybe using one too many explanation points.
Yeah, I mean, this is my uniform.
This is mine.
Yeah, it's like, but you like that. And I like this, especially when I'm filming stuff.
But that's the beautiful thing is empower yourself to just be you. Yeah. Some days I'm in a suit, some days I'm in boots. But it's true to me. I don't wear a suit because I feel like I have to impress somebody. I wear a suit because it's Friday and I want to be in a suit.
And you dig suits.
Exactly.
It's like,
so being true to who you are, and that's one of the greatest things that the community in the city has showed me as well, is you don't have to be like everybody else. Yeah. Because everybody else is already filling that gap. They're already doing that. Yeah. We don't need more of that. We need somebody who's unique. We need somebody who does mixed culture weddings. We need someone who's a photographer that will go anywhere, do anything. And so I think that, for a while, being so different and so off the wall was the way to stand out. Yeah. But now it's just being true to you. And I think that because we've been in a generation deceived so much by phony businesses because you have 12 million followers on Instagram and you can't sell 5 t-shirts. Yeah. I think that everyone has kind of educated themselves on saying, I don't know why, but something about you or this product doesn't feel right. And so I think
I've gotten good at it.
I believe that things are about to change and they're about to get shaken up for the better, because I think that everybody's understanding that we just want authenticity. No matter the product, no matter the service, we just want you to be real. And if we love you for you, we'll love you for your successes and we'll love you for your shortcomings. And that's just gone a long way for me.
Well, I think a lot of people are like starving for connection too.
Absolutely.
Like one of the best things even about doing these and about posting videos when like I'm in them and stuff is that people can make a connection with me without knowing me. Yeah. And so they can kind of see transparency and all that. But like you said, like I can tell if I want nothing to do with the product.
Absolutely.
Based off just how they come across to me.
Yeah.
And then it's like, but even talking about the whole networking thing in general, it's like people really are starving for connections. And I'm like, one of the best places to possibly be a good place to connect and all that is in the business, like entrepreneur world, where it's like, let's, not quit social media and all this stuff. That's so important. We need all those things. They're all like tools.
Yeah.
But it's like, doesn't even be the main place that everything goes down on. No. It's like, go meet with somebody you know. Yep. Go do a podcast. If you thought about doing a podcast, go get somebody you know to do it. Or go just get coffee. Go to lunch. Go, not even with the intent of like getting somebody's business.
Sure.
Just connect.
Well, listen, I've adapted this theology of I just want to be friends with everybody. I want to know you. I don't want to sit and have lunch with you because I know you have an event coming up.
Yeah.
I want to sit and have lunch with you because I want to get to know you, because like you said earlier, when you're going to refer business to friends, and so much that you do is planting seeds for a year. I've seen even 2 years pass whenever I had lunch with somebody, they finally call me and they're like, hey, by the way, and I'm like, absolutely, look at that. So it's planting those seeds that you can kind of forecast, hey, maybe one day, but I think it's having the mentality of, I'm not here to sell everyone. I'm here to make friends, and if they need me, they know that they have access to me.
Yeah, friends, connect, have a community.
Absolutely.
And then even to an extent, like obviously in the back of your mind, it's there of like, oh, this person could call me for work and stuff. And that's a completely okay, selfish ambition that you might have.
Yeah.
And like, that's an okay thing. But as long as you're at the forefront of your mind is, let me connect with this person. Let me get to know them. If I do video work with you in the future, I'm not doing this so that you give me the video work. I'm doing this because I'm like, me and Sam have a lot in common when it comes to business and entrepreneurship. And I think anybody who even listens or watches can also benefit from it.
Sure.
And so, I mean, I think connections, networking, all that's just super important.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah. Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
For letting me be here. I've got some projects that are in the work, and some things that we as a team are working on, and I hope to be back and talk a little bit more about that. I'm super excited. I haven't been excited about something like this in quite a long time. So I think the community talk and all of this stuff is, every time I sit and we communicate, I'm always just just pumped up. I just feel like there's so much opportunity out there. And so thank you for having me on the first one. I know that this is going to be a success because people want something like this. They want something that's real and just honest.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate you for coming.
Absolutely.
I think this will be good. I appreciate the words.
Sure.
And I think that I'm excited to have you on and to talk about some future stuff that might be going down.
Sweet.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, man. And thank you for listening.
All right, dude.